Ladies and gents, welcome back to another episode of Brews Barbells. I'm Mike Alfieri, co-host.
Nick Elia here. Damn, that is pretty good.
It is good.
Why is that so
I
good?
don't know. It is good.
Genesee Cream Ale.
Usually
Okay.
IPAs are gross, but it's not even an IPA.
Today's episode is going to be best accessories, supplemental movements that improve, the SPD total. And here's just like, I guess my general rule of thumb is selection of accessories is important, but I think most importantly is just like our intensity and intent behind it. Like, yes, maybe, somebody needs to do this movement over another. But if I give you something and I coach somebody on a specific accessory and they don't push it hard, or
it's not going to benefit them as much as they would.
Right, they're not focused on it, and they're taking super long rest periods or not short enough to kind of keep that intensity and get a sweat going, and you're kind of just half-assing it, then the exercise selection isn't even going to matter at that point.
Exactly.
So if you do everything with good intent and do it hard and progressively overload it, whether we're measuring that through I give you this rep scheme of four total working sets, and you want to hit 8 to 12 and 1 week, and let's say you do 10 10 9 8. Okay, that's good. Mike, write that down. And the next week you can do another rep out of it, squeeze out another rep on your second or third set, and so on. Kind of just these metrics to see, okay, we're progressing on it.
Yeah.
Just like any other main skill movement of barbell, squat, bench, or deadlift, and say, okay, we did another set, or we did another rep, or more weight, and so on. And then hitting that RPE, like minimum. If you're doing an accessory, unless you're in like, prep, and we're kind of just taking a back seat and kind of collecting ourselves more, RP 7 minimum. Like if you're doing something and it's just like, okay, like rack it, you're not getting any stimulus out of it. You're moving around, okay, that's great, but you're just basically standing still.
Yeah, it's like basically like a main movement where you're working up to a top set in a way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like with every set though, like every set's a hard set, so you can benefit more out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, what have you noticed? What is your go-to leg accessory for your squat? Like, what has helped your squat the best?
Go-to leg. I know Ben Giannis hates it, but the belt squat, I love the belt squat.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, I don't like a pit shark belt squat.
Yeah.
The weight just doesn't feel right to my squat mechanics and actually load. But if we have like the Rhino Rogue belt squat, and most people, I don't know, I see people stand back too far most of the time.
Stuff, right?
Yeah. And barbell culture. If you stand back and the line of force, we're just sitting back and it's not straight up and down as in the squat, perfectly vertical, I see that just being annoying. So I always stand closer, right on top, make sure it's straight down, through my legs, get in my squat stance, and I refuse to do it without, a band.
Yeah.
Like when putting a band on is like honestly just a game changer.
Yeah.
And I think people don't know that until I like tell them that. Like Olivia, I was like, you got to put a band on that thread.
Yeah.
What? Why? And I'm like, they're like, why can't I just put more weight on it? I'm like, no, the band tension from top to bottom.
It makes it more smooth too, though.
Yeah.
That I've noticed. Like when I do it without a band, it just like feels like I'm bouncing.
Yeah.
In a way, but it's like more controlled with the band.
And that's because it's on that track.
Yeah.
I like tracks and I don't like tracks. It all depends, and we'll talk more about that. But it being on like this fixed track is good and bad. It's not supernatural, as in like a free barbell, but the fact that we can put a band on it and make it feel like I get a good stimulus out of it, and I make sure that I am at least hitting like parallel if you adjust it to be you're kind of bottoming out and losing that tension, then it's not very beneficial. But I really like the belt squat with a band, and I could argue what's just as good would be a hack squat.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about the hack squat.
You like the reverse band on the hack squat?
No, I haven't done that. I haven't dabbled in that. But the belts or hack squat at the Lyndhurst YMCA was like my favorite. It's really old.
Really?
It's really smooth, and you could change the platform, so you would have different like ankle flexion. So the one with OSF, which is good, but I personally don't enjoy doing it because it makes I don't get as much ankle flexion. I'm like in this extension more, so I'm kind of just dropping my ass down, and that's not how I like normally squat. Like because you want to have that front pressure on your feet of your big toe. So when I would change the angle at the Lyndhurst Y and I could make the platform go up, I could actually have like damn near perfect squat stance that I normally would, which I really like. But I really like hack squat for that hypertrophy work.
Yeah.
And you're also not at like the risk of hurting yourself. Like I guess you are to an extent, but like if you fail the rep, you just bottom out and you're done. Like you're not getting crushed on or anything. So I really like that movement. So belt squat with band when you're executing it right, and hack squat for sure.
Yeah, I think my go-to, like you said, like I like both of those, but I don't know why I love single leg movements, like a Bulgarian split squat and a walking lunge. We used to push heavy on walking lunges. We throw an SSB on our backs with like 225 and just rep it out for as many as we could. I'm like, whoa, like this is nice. And I saw it go into my squat later on. So we didn't have like a belt squat or a hack squat at where I trained in the summer. Like we were just pushing stuff. And but I definitely noticed a lot of leg strength comes out of Bulgarians and walking lunges.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah. I like
and
that
they're
too.
fun to do. Like everyone hates them. And then you start doing them, and you're like, this is not bad.
Dude, that's like some, Ronnie Coleman shit. Exactly. Though. Like in the parking lot, 135 just doing like 100 lunges up and down the driveway.
Exactly.
I like, for sure. I like unilateral stuff, and it gives you a little bit more focus on, that one leg and keeping. It's not necessarily like a stability drill.
Yeah, but it does help with your balance.
Yeah, for sure. Like you have to focus on it. It's not like, oh, if I sit down and just do leg extensions, I can just do leg extensions. But if I'm like, if your eyes are moving, your body's moving, you're gonna be over. So like you need more focus on those movements, and that alone is good, for sure.
Yeah, it's funny when I do those, I have to take off my shoe. Yeah, because I'll fall over. I don't know why. If I take off my right shoe, I'm good. But I can keep my left shoe on. It's fucking weird.
That's so funny. Maybe we got some type of little imbalance.
Or like just me. I don't know. Maybe it's a mind thing.
Yeah, could be. That's funny. So that's a lower push one, quad. I'm gonna move to upper push, chest. For that supplemental stuff, I was thinking incline chest press machine.
I like that
because, dumbbells are great, and I love dumbbells.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing hypertrophy and I kind of wanna, if I'm choosing a movement that I can give to somebody and make it more basically idiot proof, then like I think you're better off, especially if you're doing dumbbell pressing and stuff and you're not orienting it to be the same as your barbell.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing more neutral or, you're just not doing the same bar path because it's a dumbbell, then I think that could be less beneficial. So incline chest press machine, you still got that same setup.
Yeah.
And anytime you can get the same, lineup where you're going to be doing your competition bench, whether that's a little bit closer or wider, just doing that's really good. And same thing, like failure wise, if you're pushing it to failure, you can squeeze that rep out. You don't have to worry about, I'm doing incline 100-pound dumbbells, and you start kind of tweaking, you don't have a spotter or something, and you could come down with it. You can kind of mess yourself up. So if you're doing those movements, like I feel like you can squeeze out harder reps and more quality reps on a machine like that, as opposed to a dumbbell or a barbell.
Exactly.
But I do like those both.
Yeah. What I noticed helped my bench the most out of anything, and a lot of people don't realize this, is tricep work will skyrocket your bench if you don't train them. Like if you're not used to training them, I've noticed dips, when I go heavy on dips, my bench will go up. If I go heavy on like JMs or skull crushers or anything tricep related, my bench will go up. And it's also a fun movement too. Like you fucking throw on some plates and start dipping it out. It makes the workout fun, you know?
Yeah.
But I've definitely noticed the most strength gain out of dipping movements. And like you said, like that chest press is nice and dumbbell work. But that's what I'm used to. Like we always do that.
So. Yeah. And what's cool about dips is I kind of like it as a transition point between chest and triceps.
Yeah.
Because the way if you orient it, like I have handles here, attachments that I can put in here.
Yeah.
But if the way you orient it, if you just change your posture and position and lean forward or lean back or whatever, you can target, more chest or more tricep. And another thing is, body weight work, I feel like is underestimated.
Oh yeah.
And then if you take that body weight work and master it, and then, you get strong enough that we load up 1, 2, 2.5, 3 plates of like dipping and making it like a very hard compound, as if it was a flat barbell bench, and we're like, oh, I'm going to do 135 dips for some 6 to 8 reps quality, then you're going to squeak out a lot of gains from it. And then it's also a quick transition if you want to do like a superset, and just do like a bodyweight finisher and kind of just squeak out a few more reps. That's good.
It's a fun one. A lot of people hate getting into it because it's hard at first.
Yeah.
I remember when I couldn't do a dip, I felt like a bitch.
Then you couldn't do a dip?
No, not when I was fat.
What?
Dude, I couldn't. What? Like when I was like a sophomore, I started doing dips like when I was a sophomore. Like as a freshman, I couldn't do a dip. I'm like, what the fuck?
How heavy were you?
Like
that year?
Freshman year, I was like 210, but I was like not
muscular.
Not muscular.
Right.
Like I was probably 5'6", 5'7", 210. Just fat. And then sophomore year came around. We started started doing a lot more dips, and I started to notice more strength from that. But dips are fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will be like, "Whoa, dude, that's crazy!" Like, do them. It'll help you.
Yeah. And if you don't want to take the time to put on the weighted,
you don't have to.
The weighted thing, like you don't have to. You could grab those chains. You could. What I've done before is if I don't want to do the whole like load up of things and I just want to get some extra additional weight, you can squeeze a dumbbell between your legs or between your feet and do them, as opposed to, okay, let me chain up this whole plate, put it around my waist. Like that does get annoying, and it takes away from kind of just chilling out, resting for your increment of 1, 2, 3 minutes and going back to it. So always keep that in mind. What else? We can go to rear delt. I'm going to say face pulls because there's a lot of ways you can do it. And today, like on Mobility Sundays, we do like the banded work. We'll take a medium band and put it on the cable. That way you can't really cheat it. If you put a rope on, the rope's not going to bend and flex a lot, and you have this limited range.
Yep.
So you can go heavy, and you can get more weight out of it and kind of cheat it. But with the band, if you're cheating and you're just pulling it and letting it go loosely, the stack is going to shake.
Exactly.
So that way the whole movement is calm and smooth from that increment of the eccentric and concentric. It's all equal, and you get that extra like opening, the external rotation, which you don't get out of that rope, a rope attachment like that.
Yeah. I do rear delts. I just like getting a pump, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I like doing like rear delt swings for Y raises.
Yeah. Y raises are great too.
I love Y raises.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of mobility, like flexion type stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. When you're going up in the Y, it makes your arms move in a way that you're not used to.
Yeah.
And I was doing that with I was training someone, and she didn't know how to do it at first. Like she was bringing her elbows up and moving her arms, and then she started to focus on it, and she's like, "Whoa, I can feel it now." And I'm like, yeah. And you get a sick pump. So
you get that movement of like an instant click. And what's people, I think Renaissance Periodization said this is like, if you're doing any type of movements, like lateral movements, where you're rising and people are like, oh, well, I want to target my rear delt, I want to target my lateral delt and not get my traps involved. Like there's no way that's not going to happen.
No.
So like don't fight it. just kind of embrace it and let it happen. Anytime your shoulder blades are going to be moving up, moving along your rib cage and going either forward or to the side, it's going to happen, and that's fine. Like why not get some trap engagement?
That's where I think you can get more out of a Y raise than a shrug.
Yeah.
With your traps, like people don't realize your traps literally a part of your upper back, and whenever you train rear delts, you're going to train your traps.
Yeah.
But
I used to love doing shrugs.
Yeah.
But I've become more experienced through shrugs. If I'm gonna do a shrug, it's gonna be it's either gonna be really stupid heavy.
Yeah, it has to be.
It's either gonna be really stupid heavy barbell shrug, or it's gonna be kind of light and single. Like I don't know if you've ever done single. I just call them single arm trap raise. Like I lean to the side and I hold the cable system, and I want to go up and back. Not just up, like everybody sees the peak, right? Yep. Everybody sees that, but anatomically it's running, down your erectors and into that top of the delt and everything. Mm-hmm. So this is good, but this is better. Yeah. And you get the full movement. Single arm ones.
First, or do you go up?
I go up and then back. Like I'm trying to make my trap go to the back of my head here. I don't want it up in my ear. I want it back here. Yep. That's good. I did that movement a lot when I was at a fucking hotel gym. Yeah, that was the only place I could train. I just loaded up the cable stack. They had a 45-pound kettlebell. That was the heaviest thing when I was out of town.
Those hotel gyms will make you appreciate your home gym so much more. Yeah, it's kind of insane.
It'll make you get really creative too.
Yeah, it does.
You're like, oh, I can still get still get a good training session anywhere, no matter what. So being adaptable is really great with that. So face pulls, I'm gonna say for back, chest supported row. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Anytime, like I said, anytime you can make it idiot proof. Yeah. If I tell somebody to do a single arm row, you could do that 101 ways. You could do it with a landmine, which we did that one time, the Meadows row, which I liked. But some people like Mike, I gave it to Mike Leroy, and he did it where he was standing parallel to the bar, which is okay. He's still getting a row out of it, but he wasn't able to track his elbow, kind of flare it out and up and close. It's kind of just more so bicep flexion. Yeah. So I was like, oh, actually stand perpendicular to it, and this way we can let it cross our midsection, get our shoulder to stretch forward, and then row it all the way back. Yeah. And you instantly get a difference. But like I said, there's one way. If you do a dumbbell, I like doing it a dumbbell single arm staggered stance because I can cross midsection easier and really load it and get more of a stretch, as opposed to if I was doing I see people do pretty often is one leg up on a bench and bent over movement. And I'm like,
so you first learned.
Yeah. And I'm like, I think I did it one time. I'm like, you know what? There's got to be a better way to do this. Yeah. So if I got a chest supported row machine,
any chest supported row machine, the other one, the single arm one, I love that thing. Yeah. You could feel every single muscle in your back squeezing when you fucking pull that. I don't know why. It's my favorite machine at OSF.
I love it too.
And I'll do it every week. It doesn't.
Yeah. I will not get
taking it out. I'm never taking out a lat pull down type of variation. Yeah. That's definitely in there every time. I love pull ups. I love chin ups. But yeah, chest supported row has got to be the best upper back movement.
And again, anytime you can turn it into where you're benching, you have that bench pattern, that bench width, it's so much better.
And that's why it's nice to have that chest supported row.
Yeah, it's just a great movement. And then you kind of take away that body English. Don't get me wrong, I do and love barbell rows. Yeah, but if we can take any body English out of it, if you're cheating it, if you're flying off the pad and half repping it, instantly you can tell. Yeah. So what else? Hamstring.
We'll go hamstring. Back type hamstring, posterior chain type shit. It's my favorite.
Yeah. So the GHR hamstring curls and the GHD, those are, dude, the heavier I get. Once I went over 200 pounds, those got significantly harder. Mm-hmm. I used to rep them out all the time. like reps of 15.
I couldn't do them again.
Yeah, when I was like when I couldn't break over that barrier of into 200 pounds, and I was my first few competitions were like I was 190, 192, and then I would just bang them out, and I'd get crazy pumps on my hamstrings. Yeah, and I want to. Let's just invest. All right, let's just invest in a reverse or a Nordic hamstring machine, and you do.
Yeah.
Oh, it's at Dylan's.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need one of those.
Share one.
I love that thing. And I've wanted to like actually push it, but
because those, when you watch people do that, you know they're fucking strong.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And people don't realize it because it's like, oh my gosh, he's just dropping down and going up. No, like he has insane amount of strength.
Right. And you're athletic as fuck.
It's like, the most athletic kids are repping those out. Like there's kids.
Dude, that's crazy.
There's kids on my football team because we have like back then, like kids that went to Kirtland that are still going, like my brother's age. Yeah. We have the setup at the weight room to where you can just throw like the bench under, like there's an attachment to where you have the Nordic setup under there, and these dudes are repping out fucking 6-7 reps on Nordics. And I'm like, okay.
I'd like to calmly just do one rep down.
And you remember I was training those. I was making some whack setups at OSF.
Yeah. Yes.
And I would throw like the band around the rack.
I've done it here.
Dude,
I've tried to make the setup here.
But they are hard.
Yeah, it's crazy. And in the same token, if you can do those, like the antagonist is your knee, right?
Yeah.
Like right behind your knee, your hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do those, your knee health is probably fucking phenomenal, exactly. And you don't have any knee issues, and you're explosive and athletic. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then, I feel like there's not really bad hamstring movements.
No, like every type of hinge is good for
which is kind of funny because there's some movements that are like, why would you ever fucking do it? Like
exactly.
Like an upright row, like an upright barbell row.
Front raise doesn't make sense sometimes.
No. Fuck that shit.
All you need is a lat raise. That's the only thing you need for your shoulders.
Yeah. But then, now that we're talking about it, like, hamstring can't really go wrong.
No, you can't.
Whether
as
you're
long as you feel it, you're
right.
getting something out of it.
Whether you're doing a single leg one or a laying, double, or I was talking to Vic about this the other day. The seated hamstring curl at OSF.
The new one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it because I've used other ones
that are nice
that lock down the top of your quads, and you actually can physically like hold your legs still. When I did the OSF one the other day, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I can't get stable, and I don't get much range because when I get to here, I'm like kicking up, and I'm actually bottoming out on the machine. I'm like, I know I can get more.
Nope.
But then big focus is the end range, like not stopping early and actually letting your leg fully extend. That's the hardest part, that's the heaviest portion. So I always make sure like I lock out and really finish it and not do like I know Luke sometimes was just like kind of leaving out that last like 4 inches of it. I'm like, dude, extend your leg out, extend it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, as long as you're focusing on the stretch and loading it correctly and not letting your low back take over on laying hamstring curls. Like sometimes that happens and I'm like, I got to think about bracing and keeping like my stomach tight and taking off that pressure of my lumbar, trying to be like, hey, we're right here. We're right here behind your butt. Exactly. Like, let's start pulling this up. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, fuck. So it is hard to kind of balance that super heavy. And that's why I really just like the single leg one.
Yeah.
And because the rest period is damn near perfect. Like, left, right, I get a little break and then I'll do right, left. Exactly. And then, just kind of hammer them out. Yeah. Like that. So that's good.
But yeah. I mean, any type of hinge movement, I like anything where you could feel your back, where you get a nice low back pump. I feel like it's beneficial for you. Mm-hmm. And that's why, like, I don't know. Your low back could be the biggest help in every single one of your lifts. Yeah. And you should really train the shit out of it. I'm blessed to have a strong back.
The nastiest natural back.
Well,
the nastiest.
Like even with work too. Like I used to really fucking train hard in my lower back, and I'd notice it in work, and I wouldn't fucking feel anything when I started working. Like I'm like,
right.
dude, I'm fucking invincible.
It's so funny. You go to work, these blue collar jobs, and coworkers and stuff are like, "Damn, my back is shot. Damn, I can't do this." And I'm like,
I need a Xanax, dude. I can't get through the day without this.
It's not that your back is getting overworked.
Your back is weak.
It's literally your back is weak. Like the reason most people experience back pain is because your back is weak. Like we experience back pain
because we train,
or like discomfort, just through like high fatigue and kind of, I'd say definitely overuse.
Yeah.
But most people, it's the exact opposite. Oh, I have back pain because it's underused. I have back pain because like people, I'll tell my boss and like coworkers and stuff, I'm like, your back's weak.
Exactly.
And it's not getting.
Like, no, I fucking work 80 hours a week. That's fucking. I'm like, no, you're just weak.
Like it's weak, and if you're not getting stronger and that back pain's not like going away while you're working and whatever recovering, then you're not getting like these gains. Mm-mm. So like at the beginning of concrete season, I'll be fried.
Yeah,
but after the first month, I'm like, I can do this all day, every day, and be fine, and like actually go to the gym. And I won't even warm up. Like sometimes on conventional deadlifts, like straight up, I'll walk into the gym, do a few of my like shoulder cars and like bamboo stick stuff, and I'm like my back and everything. Like it's funny. I'll be at work, and I'll be doing like if I'm doing something and I need to go down, like I'll do like a lunge where I can stretch and load. Where like maybe people be like, why is he doing it like that? Like. Because normally be like, let me just bend over and bad posture.
I posted something on that story about that, like how to pick up something.
Yes.
And one's just showing like someone squatting, and then other was just fucking bending over.
Yeah, like straight leg. Yeah, straight leg, rounded deadlift. Yeah. And I'm like, anytime I can get a stretch, anytime I can just use my body the way I know how it can perform at work, it's just so much easier. Yeah. And people underestimate that for sure.
Yeah. So people at home, train your lower back. Not only builds your back, it builds your character.
Yes. You need to do it.
It is a character builder.
Especially with older age and like I just say there's flexibility. Mm-hmm. People, I don't know, there's that common misconception like, oh, you don't want your back to round. You do. Like you want your back to go through the whole all ranges of flexion and extension.
The one account on Instagram, functional method.
Yeah, I love that. I love their posts.
Fucking funniest, but they back it up too.
Yeah.
Of how some fucking what do you call it? Sites. What are those people called? Dude, I can't think.
What are you talking about?
The doctors type shit.
I don't
know.
TikTok doctors.
Yeah, like some long word. I can't think about it. I'm having a brain fart. But they'll call out these people and be like, dude, you could literally round your back and it'll only benefit you. And they back it up with fucking a lot of research. And I'm like, this is sick. And they make memes out of it.
Yeah. Because it's good content.
It is.
Because like you're learning and it's also funny and you can post it and people will like
get pissed.
It'll catch their eye and you'll get a reaction or you'll get this engagement. That's just beneficial. That's a win. That's a win-win every time.
You'll hear like a lot of fit-fluencers be like, don't round your back when deadlifting. Like, you can't afford to round your back the slightest bit. It's got to be perfect. I'm like, fuck off. Just pick up the weight. Yeah. Put it down.
As long as your back maintains that position, you're fine.
Yeah.
Like if you watch and like I don't know, probably any pull of mine conventional above 580, my back is rounding. Like my brace is great. My back doesn't hurt. Like exactly. I'm getting a little rounding, but I'm maintaining it and it's fine.
Like trying to pull some dumbass weight like 405 when you're like kind of new to lifting is stupid because you've seen that. Yeah. People fucking just like fully rounded. That's stupid. But if you have a good brace and you've been deadlifting for a long time, you could afford to round your back. It doesn't have to be fucking picture perfect every time.
And if you have dog shit deadlift leverages.
Yeah. Like me, I have terrible leverages, but I just pull
you don't have the best leverages, but like it doesn't matter. Like you can get away with a lot.
And I can pull without having pain.
Yeah.
And that's because I trained my lower back for so long.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with Dolan and Jake.
Yep.
Like they don't have super long arms. They don't have the best start positions, deadlift leverages, and it will get better. Yeah. But you do have that degree of rounding.
Exactly.
And it happens, and it's fine. And be like, oh, is your back okay? Yeah, my back's fine.
I feel great.
Yeah, like like I'm using my back, like I'm pulling with it, and it's stable.
Yeah.
It just doesn't maybe look as pretty as
Exactly.
yours, or it doesn't look as pretty as like Matt Shen's or somebody with crazy long limbs. You know, their wingspan's 4 inches more than their height. That type of thing.
Like the sumo specialists. Those dudes are crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you even have enough mobility to do that? Like, I try putting my hips out or my legs out on a sumo, my hips start fucking stinging.
Oh, it hurts. I mean, it's painful. Like, going through getting wider and stronger hips through sumo is painful. And I don't miss that.
That's why I don't care. So I just bring my feet into where it's comfortable, and I can pull more than I can conventional. So I'm like, okay, so I'm pulling more than conventional, so this is cool. I'm not going out.
Did the camera show?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
but
that's fine. But Vince, if you watch Vince's, activated mongoose, like I have a video of him pulling through 15, and he's like 14 or 15 years old or whatever at Titans, and it's just like goofy as fuck. Like you look at it, and you're no.
Oh, he was
no. The video's awful.
Oh shit.
No, the video's horrible. Like it is ugly as fuck, and he posted it. I don't know, probably months ago now, and he was like, "If you think that you can't get better at sumo, like this is proof that you can." Like my sumo, I was looking at videos after that because he kind of triggered that to me. Be like, oh, what did my first sumo kind of look like? And honestly, it didn't. I mean, it looks considerably worse than what it does now, but it actually didn't look that bad. But like my toes were basically like straight forward. My hips were, I was standing way tighter. And I definitely was using my back for the most part because all I knew was conventional.
Like,
but you can, you definitely can get better. You can fight your leverages and kind of find your own position. Exactly. That's what matters.
Yeah. Like when I first started learning sumo, I always thought like, oh, you have to squat down. That's the whole point of sumo is to squat and deadlift. And I grew up and realized, no, just pull it. It's like conventional.
Yeah.
Get your feet out,
people kind of
open your hips, pull it.
People get so surprised when I'm like, you need your hips higher. They're like, what? Why would I start with my hips higher? Like, you need your hips higher because that's where if your hips are immediately rising before the bar leaves the ground, then you're like right there. That's a given. Your hips need to be higher. Your hips want to be there.
Exactly.
So you need to get a little bit stronger, and your hips can stay a little bit lower.
Yep. And
that's your start position, and that's okay. If you have to sacrifice your torso and chest being a little bit over the bar and like feeling like you're, in a worse position, realistically you're not. You'll get more comfortable with it. But yeah, like squatting to the bar got to be the worst thing to the fucking do for sumo. And I see it way too often. Still.
I knew we were going to sit here and talk a lot about the back. I knew it right before. I'm like, this is going to be a fun conversation. But, yeah, that pretty much wraps it up.
What's the worst accessory?
Oh, never mind. Yeah, there we go.
What's the worst fucking thing that you could do? You could be like, this is just a waste of time.
Well, honestly, like, I don't really have any because I don't do any.
Right.
Like, if I think it's going to do nothing, I don't do it.
Right. I'm trying to think of
that lat raise machine. I don't fucking get the point of that.
Lat raise? Oh, you're talking about seated shoulder raise?
Yeah, the seated shoulder.
The lateral.
I don't like that. I don't know. I've never done them. But,
if you hop on them, it just, I've used it a few times. It's just like a shoulder burner.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I feel like the issue with the seated lateral shoulder raise like that is that it's actually too close. Like it needs to be built for wider people because you can't get any reach out of it. Your arms are at like a 90, like the whole time. Like your forearm to elbow to humerus, you're just like kind of flat, like doing a chicken dance, flapping.
Yeah.
So I don't like that about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be something that's fucking awful. I think I kind of said it, like barbell upright rows.
Yeah.
We're just doing where you're like this, and your shoulders are just internally rotated, and your forearms are just fucked up trying to hold the bar in line.
Yeah.
I think that'd be like one of the only things that I would be like, just steer clear of that.
Yeah. I haven't done those since I first started lifting.
Yeah.
What else? Wow. Really can't
I think that might be it.
That might be it.
That really is it.
Everything else is like kind of beneficial, I guess.
Yeah. So to wrap it up, exercise selection is important, but just your overall intent and intensity behind what you're trying to train for this, hypertrophy supplemental movement after you've done your skill work through powerlifting. And a pet peeve that I fucking hate, and that any like real powerlifters hate, is the power building phrase.
That was me.
Like, I get it, it makes sense for somebody to categorize something as, oh, I'm a power builder. Like, I'm not focused on just strength. I also do bodybuilding movements. It's like any good powerlifting regimen is almost indistinguishable between any like good bodybuilding one. Like Chris Bumstead is doing conventional deadlifts heavy for fives, and he's also doing isometric, isolated single arm preacher bicep curls. And I love doing those too. So you do spend, if you think about it, you do spend most of your time on these bodybuilding accessory movements because you need to get stronger, you need to get bigger, you need to use your muscles in ways that go beyond just the skill movement of moving a barbell in the technique that we want for strength. So always keep that in mind.
And that's what I saw yesterday at the Arnold. Like all these bodybuilders. Like I went to the Arnold for a little bit, and then I went to some gym. It was like mainly a bodybuilding gym. Yeah. And we were doing our normal powerlifting stuff, and people were coming up to us, stuff like that. And I'm like, if you look at some of the best bodybuilders in the game, they are the strongest motherfuckers on the planet.
Yeah, they're crazy.
You can't get big without being strong.
Fucking 10-plate hack squat for like a crazy amount of reps. Like you don't.
It's not about getting. It's not about getting like that is. Every time.
If that's not strength, you
gotta get strong to get big.
Yeah, if you're not strong, then like you're not moving that. And it's that simple. Exactly.
But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for joining again.
Good episode.
Yeah, it was fun. We'll see you in two weekends, and cheers.
Cheers. Oh, also, we're gonna have Zum lifts on the podcast pretty soon. He will be in town, I think, in 2 weeks.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, for spring break. So we'll get some of the college guys on.
Sweet. Next guest, you heard it here first.
Zum lifts.
At Zum lifts. All right, guys.
He said he's gonna talk about being the most mid powerlifter in existence.
I say that could be a fun episode.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for tuning in.